Hey there, this is Pam from Green Dragon Farm. Nope, I'm gonna need the glasses. I gotta read. So I had a seed haul video beginning of the year, end of the year, however you want to think of it. And of course I wasn't done. I don't think I'm ever done. I'm probably gonna place orders for at least a couple more rounds of seeds. But I had two recent deliveries that, weirdly enough, is anyone else noticing that the post office is really weird these days? I had one order of seeds from Territorial Seed Company that is out of Oregon, I believe. And then another one from, it's called Southern Seed Exchange, and they're out of Texas. I ordered from Southern Seed Exchange on the 27th of December, and then Territorial, I believe, was on the 31st. I think it was the 31st of December. So 4 days apart, and one's coming from Texas. I'm in East Tennessee. Logic dictates Texas is a little closer to Tennessee than Oregon is. The order from Territorial got here on the 5th. And then the order from Southern Seed Exchange got here on the 9th. So ordered 4 days earlier, got here 4 days after. That kind of seems weird to me. So I'm not saying anything about the seed companies, either one of them, but both of them were delivered by the post office. What's going on here? Sorry. Just had a drink of water and it's like, oh yeah, I didn't wipe my mouth. Okay, so what did I get? Okay, let's do the Territorial order first. All right, so I ordered, this is, and I'll put up pictures. This is a sweet pea called Fragrantissima that is supposed to stink real good, smell real good, stink real good. I haven't had the best of luck with sweet peas. I see people down in South Carolina growing them. I see people up farther north. I seem to be in that kind of like no-fly zone here. What people up north can do easily, and similarly, people down south of me, from me, can do easily. Granted, on different times of the year stuff, things like that. For instance, onions, which we're going to talk about. People down southern Georgia and stuff like that, they've already got their onions in the ground, and they're going to be, harvested pretty soon this spring. Whereas people in the north, they may be starting the seeds now, but they're not getting them out in the ground because they're going to freeze because they have much colder weather temperatures. So I seem to be in that kind of weird zone where the winters are too cold, similarly to northern stuff, but my summers are hot like the southern stuff, and the two do not meet. So I'm a little ticked off at that, but I'm gonna do what I can. So I am going to be starting these in, for Christmas I bought myself a soil blocker. And I'll show that off because I have to practice on it some, because so far the results have not been spectacular. So I got to keep practicing before I can actually get this stuff in here. So I've got those. I'm going to try those this year. I want sweet peas because I know they're supposed to smell real good, and the bees and other pollinators are supposed to really like it. But I guess I have other things that I can do with my time if these don't work out, if I don't figure it out. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to be trying this year that I've never tried before, this is Scabiosa or pincushion flower. And this is a variety called Black Knight. they've always looked interesting to me, and I've been seeing a lot of YouTubers on here just really talking them up real good. So never tried them before. I don't know if I can grow them successfully here, but I'm gonna give it a try this year. I think these guys are annuals, but we'll see. And then I needed to get new onion seeds. I've done an experiment. I attempted to grow or to plant onions in the fall. They're now in one of my raised beds out in the garden. I planted about the same time as I did my garlic. May have been a little late with that, but we'll just have to see. I don't know if it's going to work or not. If it does work, again, YouTube gets me in all kinds of trouble, y'all. I mean, I see somebody who's in my general area doing stuff and they're being successful, and I go ahead and try it. The difference, the YouTuber that I saw, I think he's in North Carolina. Yes, he's in North Carolina. He has one of those high tunnels that doesn't necessarily keep the onions warm during the winter, but it keeps like the winds and the heavy duty stuff off of them enough so that they can maintain until warmer weather start. My face, of course, decides it wants to twitch. So on that, so any of you been looking at my videos, dang, that's disturbing. Seeing my videos, seeing my face twitch, I've actually started looking a little further into. I had an MRI done a week and a half ago that didn't really tell me much. Supposedly, the primary care is going to be setting up a referral to a neurologist to find out, why I'm doing this. Otherwise, I'm going to be relegated to just Igor and other henchmen from horror films. Because this wasn't doing this. This is why I started filming right now, because it wasn't doing it. Anyway, so just ignore the face twitch. So I bought some more onions because I did use a lot of my onions up doing the fall planting. And just to hedge my bets, I'm going to go ahead and plant more to plant outside this spring. And I went ahead and did what I usually do. I'm really fixating on trying to find, because I know candy does well for me. So for those of you who have never done onions, and I know I'm doing bing, bing, bing all over the place, but for those of you who don't do onions yet, and yeah, I was always scared of trying onions too, because the previous times back in my youth, trying to grow onions, and all I got basically were green onions, no bulbing. Just did not work, wasn't worth it. So I tried again after watching YouTube. Oh, I get in so much trouble. I need to just put my computer down and just not go on. But I enjoy myself, and it's relatively cheap, so what the heck. So I finally figured out, or maybe more importantly, they started developing types of onions that grow kind of in my area. I used to go by whatever was what kind of seeds, onion seeds were available at, say, Walmart or Lowe's or any of the plant nurseries I go to. I got some seeds from Rural King. But what I'm kind of thinking is these big stores that have the seeds in the spring, they don't really pay attention to regionality as much as they should. Because I've had packs of Walla Walla seeds, which are long day onions, or the Texas Grano onions that are short day onions. And I happen to be right at the 35 degree latitude line that is kind of in between those two designations. Allegedly, according to all the extension agents I've ever talked to over the years, we should be able to grow those varieties here in East Tennessee. And maybe you are also in East Tennessee and you are capable of growing Walla Walla and Texas Grano and all those kinds of things. I can't. So I'm kind of fixating on the intermediate onions right now and having a little bit of luck. My favorite so far has been the candy. I grew the red candy last year, but those were from the little plants that I got from, was it Dixondale Farms? But I think I got those into the ground. They weren't as robust as I was hoping. Most of that was my problem, my fault. But the reason why I got from Dixondale is the onion seeds that I grew last winter just did not do very well. And I wanted to hedge my bet and got a couple of packs of like an intermediate day combo, which was candy, red candy, and superstar. So yellow, red, and white varieties. But as usual, I'm going through looking at intermediate varieties and all the different seed catalogs and seed websites that I come across. And there's a few that I've had my eye on for a while. I'm actually looking for an intermediate type that is more of a storage type onion. So onions, bulbing onions, kind of tend to go, they're either the sweet onions, kind of like the Vidalia onions, or the storage onions that, as the name suggests, store well. Sweet onions are sweet but don't store very well because, hello Jay, because they don't have as much of the sulfur compounds as the storage onions that tend to be the hotter varieties of onions. The ones that make you cry when you slice into them, cut them up. Whereas the sweet onions, supposedly you can eat them like an apple kind of deal and not break a sweat. I love onions, but I've never really been tempted to eat one like an apple. But maybe I'll try that. Okay, so the 3 varieties of onions that I'm trying this year, this is Almagro, which is a yellow onion, and it's a sweet type, so it can only store for like 2 months. The other one, which is a storage onion, is called Oneida, and it's supposed to be able to store up to 6 months. And that is got the darker yellow or copper colored skin. I think it's yellowish. We'll see, find out. And then this is Monastrell. This is a red variety. And if I remember correctly, yes, this is supposed to be a storage variety. What I have learned in the relatively few years that I've been growing bulbing onions is that the red onions are the ones that tend to go funky in storage first. I don't know why, but I'm going to give this a try. I think this is supposed to last like 4 months or so in storage. And then finally, I have tried growing shallots before. I've tried growing shallots from seeds before and had somewhat success. Oh, what was that variety called? I don't know. But this is Davidor. And I know it says onion across the top, but it's supposed to be a shallot. Shallots are basically onions. They're just milder and not quite as oniony. Conserver is the variety because it says right here. This is supposed to be an updated, better version of conserver and is also supposed to be an intermediate type. So I would assume that shallots and bulbing onions should be similar with long, short, day neutral type situations. We shall see. So I'm going to be getting those planted once I get my seed starting shelf set up. I did a kind of a silly thing. Well, I guess not really silly. It was kind of logical. But the shelf that I used last year and previous years before that, for my seed starting indoors has kind of been taken over by kitchen storage, jars, canning jars, and things like that. So I've only got one of the 3 shelves that I used last year is empty right now. And I came across a sale at Walmart. It was a similar wire, one of those metal wire shelves, but instead of being 3 feet across, it's 2 feet wide. Same, 5 shelf system and the 12 or 14 inches. So basically enough for one 11 by 22 inch seed tray to fit singly. And if I just go ahead and set those all up, 1, 2, 3, I could get 4 on there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so go to the Walmart website and look up wire shelf. I think it was like 130 and they had it on sale for like 70. So I got that. Happy birthday to me, or Merry Christmas, or Happy New Year, whatever you want to call it. All right, on to the Southern Seed Exchange. Okay, so here's this is what my seeds came in. I was like, I ordered a lot of seeds. That seems awfully small, but it's so cute though. But then I opened it up and I saw why, which still cool deals. So instead of the bigger seed packs, a lot of things that, quite frankly, is a lot of wasted space unless you just jam really large seeds in there. Kind of a waste of space. And this is one way. The only drawback I can possibly see is, storage. The inside, a nice little envelope. I just like that. So they put their seeds in little Ziploc plastic baggies like this, and it makes a lot of sense. You print off your labels on the little sticky label thingies and put it on there, and off you go. So good points about this. Not a big waste of space. Yeah, it is plastic, but it's also going to protect the seeds if I go out in the garden and there's some moisture. Paper packs, you'll get wet and possibly ruin the seeds if I'm not careful. Drawbacks, besides the fact that it's just plastic, is, it's open to the light. So I'm going to have to keep them out of the sun or, bright lights in the room and stuff like that, which is not a problem. I do that anyway with all my seeds. And the fact there's not pretty pictures on the label. But I don't need that. So a lot of the things that I ordered on this website, I've never ordered from them before. So I'm hopeful that they're a good fit for me. But a lot of the stuff that I got were kind of these things going, wait, you can grow that from seeds kind of deal. So we'll go through this. I think there's 14, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, something like that. So the main reason why I went ahead and bought so much stuff from them is because they were having a half price sale. So I'll leave the link on the bottom in the description box. So I don't know if they're still having it or not. Last time I checked, they did, which last time I checked was 2 days ago. This is Thursday, January 16th, 17th, 20, 16th. The brain. All right, so this was kind of just threw this in here because I've been wanting to try red cabbage for a while, and I've had it on my wish list from other sites. It was on half price, and it wasn't so many. That's 200 seeds, huh? Cool. All right, anyway, so this is just red Acre cabbage. I want to see if I can grow any kind of cabbage these days. Having problems with that, again, with timing. If I put it out too early, they freeze. If I put them out too late, they bolt. So Anyone who lives in the Mid-South knows of a good variety, let me know. All right, so some of this stuff have I grown before. I've got the Scarlet Bee Balm, the Monarda didyma, which I tried growing last year and I did get germination, but then somehow I overlooked them and didn't keep up with them and they dried up and died on me. So that was entirely my fault. We're going to give it a go again. And the other one that I've grown before, well, I kind of grew this one by mistake. I bought one of those, I went to Dollar Tree. And it's been a few years, and I bought one of those, the wildflower mixes that have, stuff that might grow in your area and stuff that doesn't. But one of the things that did actually grow, I had it, and I was just like, this stuff's not going to be any good, even if it is good. So I just kind of broadcast it out in kind of like a little prairie type setting that it's not really good for gardening, but, it's difficult to mow. So I thought, if I get some wildflowers growing out here. The only thing that actually came up and blossomed was Nemophila, also called baby blue eyes. And again, I'm putting up the pictures so y'all can see what they look like. So we're going to get those going, see if we can get those naturalized a little bit. What else have I grown before? A lot of it I haven't grown before. Okay, so previously I had purchased, I think it was Baker Creek, I got a version of Mullein that supposedly has blue flowers, I want to say. If it's not blue flowers, I'll put it up on the thing. But I also got, this is a variety of mullein called Greek mullein, picture to show, has the usual yellow flowers, but they're cutting out in such a way. Mullein is one of those. A lot of the reasons why I chose these seeds is because they do good things for pollinators, and me and my bees. So get those guys going first time. And I think the rest of these are complete first time things. So I got seeds for blanket flower or Gaillardia. These are just a good general, again, another wildflower, can naturalize, self-seed themselves. So we'll see if we can get those started. I really definitely need to work on getting more space for all these plantings because I'm not going to have room for vegetables with all the flower seeds that I'm buying. Passionflower. So passionflower can be considered kind of invasive in the South. I don't think there's a whole lot around my area. Another name for passionflower is maypop because it's a vining plant that makes these really, at least they look pretty on the pictures. I've not seen them in person, but they make these really big tropical, wild looking flowers, blue flowers. And then after the flower has gone, it produces these little fruits. And depending on who you talk to, they're either the tastiest thing on the planet or they're So maybe not so much growing these for the fruit, but definitely for the flowers. I just like multi-purpose creations. I'm going to try and grow from seed Baptisia. This is called Blue Wild Indigo. So people once upon a time evidently uses this as a Native American type plant that is good for pollinators. I've got one that I purchased as a young seedling from one of the Tennessee Environmental Council plant sales a few years ago. And when it flowers in the spring, the bees absolutely go crazy about it. They've got these almost like black and royal blue. It's almost like a neon blue flower. I'll put it up here. I think I've got a video from several years ago that I put on there showing it, but it's got the flower, which is kind of a bristly looking little cone thing, and then bright orange, neon orange pollen that as the bees are going around collecting their little pollen pants just are like, I could light them up with a blue light or a black light. And it is very hardy. I rarely do anything to it except for maybe cut back older branches that aren't doing well, or ones that are growing out at weird angles won't allow me to mow around them, that kind of stuff. So gonna see about growing some of those. All right, another flower that I've never heard of. It is actually related to Queen Anne's lace. It's got two names, and of course I didn't write down what the actual name is, so it has for some reason, two different Latin names or scientific names. Didiscus, stop twitching, Carillius, and sometimes it's called just commonly a Didiscus or Didiscus, also known as blue lace flower. I think this is more common in Australia, but someone had written that this was really good for a wildflower type garden, and the pollinators really like it. So we're going to give those a try. Again, these were half-price seeds, so I really don't care. Gaura. So this is a plant that normally you can only buy as plants, hybrid type plants. And then you have to I think they're annuals. I want to say they're annuals, maybe they're perennials. I'll have to check. But you know, I've been looking because, again, the bee thing, evidently Gaura is real good for naturalizing, and then the bees really like it. This is a white variety. The hybrids and things like that are like orange and reds and things like that. But you know, I'm just going to grow these and see, A, do they grow, and B, do they do well? And if I decide they really do well and I want to branch out into the colors of Gaura, then I can look for actual plants. And then there's a variety. They're called Zinnia. They're called creeping Zinnia, actually, but they're not really related to our regular zinnias. So this is Sanvitalia procumbens, creeping Zinnia. This stuff is, when I lived in South Florida as a kid, my parents owned property. They owned the piece of property that had our house on it, and then there was an adjacent, basically building lot, you know, lot for building on right next door. And they had a school built for my mom to teach. It was a Montessori preschool, and it had in the front, for parents dropping off their kids, it had kind of a circular drive, and the center part of the circle was this creeping Zinnia. And so this was just basically some nostalgia. I'm pretty sure it was perennial down in South Florida. I'm almost sure that it's not going to be perennial here, but we'll see how easier or difficult it is to grow. Just, you know, a lot of these may be one-offs that I never try again, but you never know. Okay, now we're going to get into the more of the, I didn't know you could grow those from seed. So these are seeds. So these are itty bitty, teeny tiny. You can see on the back of the label there, all those little tiny things. For Oakleaf Hydrangea. Did not know you could grow Oakleaf Hydrangea from seeds. So Not that I'm really a hydrangea kind of girl, but since I'm trying to build up a plant nursery type thing, stop face. Sorry. You know, I thought, yeah, let's see if we can get at least one, then I can do cuttings from there on. So these are obviously no name, but they're Oakleaf Hydrangeas. We'll see how hardy they are. We'll see how well they do. And I have, again, no expectations that I'm going to be successful. But again, if all I get is one and I've spent, you know, $2 on these seeds, am I out that much? Nope, I'm not. And it's experiment. The next thing that I kind of knew you can grow from seed because they tend to be invasive. This is a Vitex called Vitex agnus-castus. I have a couple of bushes out in my front garden, which is the Vitex negundo, which does grow from seed, but it's not as prolific, shall we say, as the agnus-castus variety. Another name for this is the Texas Lilac. So I've tried growing lilacs before in the past. Zone 7 tends to be the cutoff most of the time for most hybrid lilacs. So I decided, yeah, we'll try giving these a thing, and I'll just make sure that there's, you know, it's easy to mow around to keep any, you know, encroaching seedlings from coming up. Again, bee flower. The bees like my Vitex negundo, and we'll go from there. I also got seeds for actual lilacs. These are called early blooming lilacs. So, and all of these I know are going to take years to develop into a large enough plant if they are successful. But again, we shall see, A, if I'm successful, and B, if they actually grow here. And going along with the lilacs, seeds for some crepe myrtles. Seeds, no name, no guarantee of what color these are going to be, if they're going to be successful, whatnot. But there are people all around me that have crepe myrtle trees, large, huge crepe myrtle trees. And I have several times bought crepe myrtle, you know, starters, you know, little foot tall little things that didn't do well. Was it entirely my fault? Yeah, it was. I didn't pay attention. I forgot that they were growing. Something overgrew them, and I forgot and weed whacked it and weed whacked down the plant. So the hope is that I'm going to grow some of these, get them to a size, keep one or two to plant somewhere in my landscape, maybe sell the rest of the plants out. And then my last, which is the one that I really, really hope actually works. These are seeds for witch hazel. Again, this is going to be one of those things that's going to take forever for them to even develop into, you know, anything. I keep seeing these pictures of these beautiful, big, large, you know, well, large bushes, small trees of witch hazel. One of the main reasons why I'm interested in witch hazel is because they bloom during the winter. They bloom late fall into middle winter kind of deal, which is good for the bees, if it's warm enough for the bees to come out. So, and then there's the whole medicinal aspect. You know, witch hazel used to be grown to, if you go into the store and you buy a bottle of witch hazel as a toner for your skin or whatever, you'll notice that part of it is alcohol. And I'm kind of looking for something that doesn't have alcohol in it. I don't know if that's even such a thing. If maybe the old-fashioned way of doing witch hazel was, you know, pour you know, whiskey or moonshine over, you know, the whatever it is about witch hazel. But yep, so those are my latest recipients. Some of those I'm gonna have to be getting going on, especially with cold stratification. Yeah, witch hazel. So one of the reasons why, actually, I was doing some reading about witch hazel. Sorry, you thought you were done. You weren't. So doing some reading, that's not witch hazel. Well, you saw. Doing some reading on the witch hazel, and one of the reasons why it takes so long to grow witch hazel from seeds naturally is that they have to go through like summer, because evidently the seeds drop in the summer, and then they go through the fall and the winter and get cold, and then maybe they germinate the following spring. So it takes a while for them just to germinate. So what I have to do with these things, and if anyone watching this knows kind of how to do it, because I really need to get it done now, is you're supposed to do something that's called warm stratification first for 90 days. And then you do cold stratification for 90 days. And then you put them in and get them to start germinating and growing. And then basically you're supposed to keep them in, you know, whatever containers, plant pots, whatever, all for the rest of the year, over winter, and then possibly plant out the next spring. So this is going to be like a 18-month or more endeavor. It's supposed to take like 2 or 3 months for it just to germinate. So I'm going to do a video on growing witch hazel, but don't expect it anytime this year. So cross your fingers. Okay, so that was enough. Hoping to do more videos showing cold stratification. But oh yeah, so the warm stratification for 90 days. I mean, everything that I've read says they want it to be about 80 degrees or so. So, but if I put it on a heating pad or a seed mat or something like that to keep it warm, does it have to be in soil in a pot that I'm then putting in the refrigerator for 3 months? Inquiring minds want to know. So if anyone has any experience with doing the warm and then cold stratification and then planting, or do you plant and keep it like you're doing just a regular seedling, and then after 3 months you put it in the refrigerator and then take it out and wait for it to germinate? I'm so confused. So if there were more than 5 seeds in here, I would do a little bit more experimentation to see if it's really necessary or not. But dilemma. All right, so yeah, if anyone knows or has any thoughts or ideas around any of the other varieties that I'm growing, had experience growing them from seed, sure, let me know. Put it down in the notes, and I'd appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoy my rambliness and also my twitching face, oh look, it stopped twitching for a while. Like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. 2025 is the year that I'm really hoping to build this up, not only as a channel for my own use, to get more content on there, but, you know, open dialogue nicely. I'm having a conversation right now on a completely different YouTube channel that started 2 years ago about eating honey versus the carnivore diet. And I won't get into, you know, particulars about it, but there are people still writing to me and yelling at me. So I'm just like, I was just saying something. Won't tell you what it was, but basically bee vomit was involved, and I took a little umbrage about being called that as a beekeeper myself. So, yeah, so hoping to open dialogue, back and forth. If you know something, Let me know if you didn't know something and I let you know. Let me know if you were successful. It's all about the love. All right. All right, guys. So have a good one. This is Thursday, so everyone have a great weekend. Batten down the hatches for this weather that's allegedly coming in the next few days. My electric bill this month for December was not good. I'm willing to bet my electric bill in February for January is going to be equally, if not more, not good, if you get my gift. So everyone stay warm. Hope everyone's doing fine. Hope your garden's planting is going apace and you're having as much fun as I am planning and but also kind of trepidatious about where am I going to put everything, which that's just a common thing with me. So I guess I will see you all next time I'm getting a video out, and I'll talk to whoever later. Thanks. Bye.
Ha ha ha! Psych! You thought you were done with me. No. I forgot one. For some reason, the seeds I had for it's a plant called cherry plum. I also have seeds for that, so that's going to be fun. So apparently these are, they're plums, but they're smaller size. They're more of a wild type plum. So going to plant those too and see. If nothing else, I might have some, kind of a rootstock kind of deal for other varieties of plums that I can graft and make a Franken plum. That was it.